What is up, coders, and welcome to a quick video. Today we're going to be taking a look at something pretty exciting for the channel. As you can see on the screen here, GameKO has gotten their hands, or is going to be getting their hands on an Asus ROG Ally at launch. We went ahead and pre-ordered a handheld ourselves so we could get our hands on it because we think it's a really big turning point in the handheld industry. Steam Deck was one of the first and best options on the market and has been the market leader since they launched. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Asus ROG Ally and why it's exciting me, why I think that there's going to be a good amount of opportunity there. Also outline kind of our plans for where we're going to take the coverage of that on the channel, as well as a couple accessories. You're going to get a sneak peek at a couple accessories I've already got in, as you can see here, that we'll be using day one with the Asus ROG Ally to get it up to snuff and playing games quickly and very well right out the gate. So strap in, let's go ahead and take a look at the Asus ROG Ally. First, we'll take a look at the main site and just kind of talk a little bit through why I'm so excited about this handheld specifically. Obviously, it jumps off the page just from a design perspective. If we look at it from there, it does really look like a very well built piece of kit. Every review that I've watched has not had a whole lot of complaints about the build quality, minus a couple pre-production issues, which we have been hearing have been getting resolved over time, which is very good. But the biggest thing and the most exciting part, and the thing that I think separates this from the Steam Deck, as well as a lot of other handhelds that are on the market, are two big aspects. First off, and you see it right here, Windows 11. Windows 11 is obviously not a handheld platform. It's not designed for touch and stuff like that. However, it is designed for games, right? Everybody games on Windows. It is the best platform to currently game because it has all of the games that you want to play. There aren't any games on platforms like Linux, like Mac, like some of those other options like SteamOS that aren't available also on Windows. But there are a lot of games that aren't on SteamOS, Mac, or Linux that are available on Windows. So that's the biggest option. Game Pass is obviously a huge contributor, and this comes with 3 months free of Game Pass, which is really just like a nice icing on the cake. For me, who currently subscribes, it's just going to be some free months for myself, which I'm excited about. I paid for that in the product, so that's totally worth it. Also, it's equipped with an AMD Ryzen chip called the Z1 Extreme, which is a very close equivalent to the 7840U. You've looked at that APU at all. It's a very exciting piece of kit, and it's the newest generation. It not only has a Zen 4 processor, which is going to allow it to compete with some of the latest CPUs on the market in the mobile space, but also it has a RDNA 3 GPU built into the APU. All while doing this at extremely low cost of just power in general, which means that you're going to get decent battery life. Now, I will say this, any of these portable handhelds are not going to perform extremely high battery life when you're playing top of the line games at the highest power profiles. You have to know that going in. So I am expecting it to not perform as well in the performance modes as it does when I'm full out going turbo mode. But that is where one of these accessories comes in, as well as where I'm going to store the games, which we'll talk about in a second. So those two things are major reasons why I'm very excited about what this is going to be. But this is not an ad for the Asus ROG Ally. This is to talk about what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be covering, and all of that things. So that's just a little snapshot at what we're going to be, looking at. Let me go ahead and swap over to the first item that we'll be covering today. So I just got this in the mail yesterday. Let's see if I can get a nice angle on that so that you can read what that says. As you can see, it's an MVR PDXC dock. So Mavericks docking station. This is a docking station for the Steam Deck or the Asus ROG Ally, as you can see here on the listing page. I got it for a really reasonable price, I thought, at $36 plus a 10% coupon, so I basically saved tax. Not mad about that. But this one specifically, the reason I went for this one is not only is it really well built, it's made out of aluminum and solid aluminum, not just a light casing of aluminum, but also it has a number of features that some of them didn't. There's only one thing I think that is missing that I'd like to see, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, I'll cover just some of the ports that are available on this one. First, you got this nice little short cable, which will be just long enough to get it over the Asus ROG Ally's top spot for the USB-C, which I believe is going to be about right there. This thing is great because it's a right angle USB-C port. So it should be really, really nice and flush with the device and not be constantly getting pulled or yanked in different directions. The other big thing is, if I can get this closer, is starting right here. This is a PD up to 65 watt port that allows me to charge that high. This is great because it allows me to get a full charge out of the ROG Ally. Now, I'm going to test that and make sure that it does. So if I report back and it doesn't do that, it's not charging it at the highest rate, I will report back to you guys to let you know. Another big one, and this is obviously like one of the biggest defaults that you want to make sure that you're getting covered here, is a 4K HD HDMI out port. The great thing about this is this allows me to add a second screen or potentially just use that second screen as the gaming output. Now this system is not going to be displaying games at 4K. It's going to do 1080p and probably cap out there to get reasonable frame rates, around 30 to 60 depending on the type of game. But on the off chance that you can get higher, that's still great to have 4K. On top of that, it allows you to take advantage of that that 120 hertz VRR. So USB 2.0 right here. This is the low power port. USB 3.1, USB 3.1, and USB 3.1C. So having all those different ports is really great because that means you can add a lot of accessories like a controller, like a keyboard, a mouse, and then whatever else you want to add here as well. Maybe an SD card reader. That is the thing that this is missing, that I could have looked for a dock that offered it, which is a micro SD card reader. That would just be convenient because my laptop does not offer a micro SD card reader. So getting data onto my next accessory that we'll talk about will be a little bit more difficult, but I've got a friend for that, so should be good. Over on the side here, this is not going to be super useful for me, but I thought this would be nice for future proofing, is an Ethernet cable. This could be used for all kinds of devices in the future, but for now, this is going to be a great fit. It does really feel like a nice sturdy piece of tech. It's got nice rubber feet, nice rubberized grips inside here. I saw a review say that things this size that were designed for the Steam Deck easily fit the ROG Ally, and so I'm going to trust some people that, have their hands on. And if I had dropped this and lost it, I would have been very upset. My second piece of tech here that we're going to cover, and let me go ahead and just swap the listing over to what it is so I have all the information correct. This is, if I can get it to focus, a Samsung 256 gigabyte Evo Select memory card, micro SD memory card. And a big thing here that I wanted to make sure it was at least UHS 1, but A2. I did some research on this, and this is probably the best card you can get for the money currently on the Amazon Marketplace. At this price, it's absolutely insane. $17.99 for 256 gigabytes is incredible. As you can see, the bigger you go, the kind of worse value for the space you get, and the smaller you go past 256, the worse value you get for the space. If we did some quick math, I would be willing to bet the best bang for your buck is the 256 gigabyte size. Now, you may want more space, you may want less. There are other options on Amazon for 1 terabyte ones. Excuse me. But for what my purposes are, which are mostly going to be emulation, this should be a perfect size for me to get tons of games on there. I may have to downsize a hair from where I was originally planning, but it still is a great amount. And it's a well-built card, and I've looked it up. There's really good read speeds and write speeds. Big thing here, though, this is not the fastest type of card you can get. If you really want to get the most speed out of the ROG Ally, you're going to want to look for a UHS 2 card. You're not going to find those on Amazon Marketplace from what I can see. You can find them on B&H Video. This is primarily reserved for very, very high-end recording devices, for photography and video, it is starting to seep into these gaming peripherals. It also comes with a nice little adapter here, which is great to see. Allows you to easily take things on and off in a normal SD card reader. So that is kind of, I didn't really go to my full view, but let's go ahead and give you a really nice good view on it again. I apologize for the not great zoom there. So XC, and I just said that crazy, but you can see it's really well built. It's nicely designed. I'll go ahead and edit this in so that you can see everything. Let's go ahead and show you those ports on the back. All those different ports on the back right there. PD, 4K HD, USB 2.0, USB 3.0s twice, USB-C 3.0 at the last, and then we have an Ethernet cable right there. So that's really great. And then my Samsung Evo, it's not gonna focus super great. SD adapter for micro SD card. And then inside we have this beautiful bastard, if I can get it to, if I can hold it nicely. 256 Evo Select. So if you're looking for one of those, this is a great option for you. I highly recommend everyone check those two things out. These are my two first accessories. There aren't many out on the market, and that is something that I hope ROG Ally really partners with. ROG goes and partners with people a lot more, because I'd love to pick up more things that are going to fit this. However, there's tons more coverage to come. Big thing here is just make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more about the ROG Ally. If you're curious, you're not ready to make the purchase, I can go ahead and walk you through what that $700 is going to get you, as well as the experience you can get on a handheld and as a kind of portable desktop. We may even, down the line, if things go well, we can go ahead and add those external GPUs as well. That would be something that I'm very fascinated in. I understand there's some limitations there, but I think it's a pretty exciting prospect, and I'd love to be able to test it out. So thank you guys so much for this quick look at some of the accessories that we're going to be purchasing, as well as some of the news coming to the channel. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and as always, stay classy, coders.